We've got a profusion of growth in the garden, well, in our seedlings, and in the garden too. The garlic really looks like it's coming along. And as you saw last week, the rutabaga has sprouted and it's starting to come along. It's not, fully developed yet, but let's go take a look. It's not enough giving your vegetables a good start indoors. You got to make sure that they're able to make the transition from the indoor setting to outdoors. And that's, of course, the hardening off process. I'm fortunate. I've got a greenhouse I can move my plants out into. It's been actually cold a little bit, colder than I would have liked to start bringing them out. But a lot of these vegetables, they're cold hardy for the most part. But you still have to do a slight transition for them. You can't just bring them out and let them start being outdoors. So that's what I'm doing this week, is beginning the hardening off process. So let's go check on and see how they're doing. I just brought the vegetables out into the greenhouse, the ones that were potted up last week. That way they can start hardening off. As you can see, they're all doing pretty good. We haven't had any losses on any of the transplants, so that's good. They do need to get another dose of fertilizer, and I'm going to be fertilizing them with that diluted mix every week now. I think, as you can see with these rutabagas, their leaves are a little yellowish in color. It means they're a little starved for nutrients. Whereas the broccoli and a few others that have gotten additional doses of fertilizer, their leaves are much greener, and the plants overall are looking healthy. The lettuce is looking good. So let's go take a look at each of them. These are the Brussels sprouts over here, and they're looking really good. I've got, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 plants, which is probably all I need. And then I've got some backups here that I haven't potted up yet, but I'm probably going to do that today. Just in the event something happens to these in the garden when they're finally transplanted out, or even in here in the greenhouse during the hardening off process, I'll have some backup plants to work with. Broccoli is doing really nice here, really growing strong. And they're in need of a drink. You can see it's a little dry here. I mean, you dig down a little bit, still a little moist down there, but they still need a dose of fertilizer. And these are Calabrese broccoli that I've got here, also looking very healthy. Now, when these get transplanted out into the garden, they're going to end up getting planted right up to here again. Remember, when we planted them in these containers, we planted them deep down up to the leaves. These are the cotyledon leaves. And we planted them deep right up to those leaves, and they've grown up. So now when we plant them in the garden, we'll end up planting it up to those leaves once again. Also amongst the broccoli is my Waltham 29. I'm surprised these are doing as good as they are. These were a little later start than the Calabrese, but they're starting to come along now. And I'm not sure which one it was, but after I potted these up and I was carrying it indoors, my hat blew off my head and landed on one of these and actually broke it. It was either this one or this one down here, but either way, it looks like it's still doing okay. They're both growing, so even if you end up breaking one, don't throw it away just yet. It might be able to come back, and these obviously have. Cabbage is coming along. If I could stop knocking them over with different things. This one's getting a little leggy back here, but I've also knocked it a couple of times, so it's leaning over now. So these are the Copenhagen cabbages, and they're doing nicely. Up front here, we've got the Golden Acre, and as you can see, these transplants are looking very healthy too. The red romaine lettuce that we got It's growing real strong here, putting out a lot of leaves, and that's why I wanted to start another round of lettuce this week, so that by the time these are finished up, we'll be able to begin harvesting a new round of lettuce. Our onions are also doing well. As you can see, they're really packed in here, but growing nice. If you felt this thing, you can feel it's very solid, so it means the root system in there is probably very tight. So we need to give them extra attention with the fertilizer, because as you can see, some are yellowing in here as well, so they might need extra doses of it, just because there's so much competition for nutrients by the root systems in here. But otherwise, they're doing good. Chives as well are doing good. I never gave them that haircut that I was going to. Now I'm gonna have to do that today. But they're looking healthy as well. So looking forward to them getting planted up into pots and put out into my herb garden. These are some of our potatoes. We got a russet here, russet there. They're all russets, okay. Yeah, the russets were the early bloomers of the bunch, but now they're all starting to come up. But these three pots are the earliest bloomers of all of them. And you can see the plants look very healthy, very dark green, and they're growing nicely. This one is very close to being put into a bucket. A little bit more maybe, but it's right at the cusp of going in. This one definitely will probably go in on the on St. Patrick's Day, or the weekend of St. Patrick's Day. I like to do all my planting on Sundays. And then these will probably be pretty close to being ready too. These need about another week, I'd say. And the others are all starting to sprout now as well. Still a few laggards, but I'm confident they'll all be able to catch up with the other plants. Now, if you remember from the last potato update, I had put a couple more back into the buckets to let them chip further. And as you can see, now they're really starting to come along. This is a russet, I believe. This is the Sharpo Mira. So they're all sticking up through the soil. And this is a russet as well. So they'll be ready to transplant now into cups. These are the sweet potatoes we did in the ground. Not sure what, if anything, is going on here. Keeping them moist, because that's important until the plants establish. And with these sweet potatoes, we actually got the start of a root. So I don't know if there's any roots started with the ones in the soil, but at least with this one, we've got a root going. I don't think there's one on this one here. Maybe soon right there. But so far, not much happening. The cauliflower I replanted with the new seed. Yep, that's coming along nice. I think I got 100% germination on that. So a couple of weeks, we'll end up potting them up. But for cauliflower, looks like a success. And surprise, surprise, the Baker Creek cauliflower has sprouted as well, finally. Now, it's not the old one. I stopped watering that one this week, as a matter of fact, this past week. So it's dried out because nothing ever happened there. But I planted them again just to see. And we've got some plants going. We got about 3 seeds sprouted here. Not as good as the other cauliflower, the Fairy Morse, but it's a couple. Look, you can see it's really starting to perk up now. Weatherman those talking about possible blizzard conditions. in the next 2 days. But they've been wrong a lot this winter. So I've left the rutabaga out so they can start getting some sun. And as you can see, the ground is started to dry up around them. And because we are expected to get potential blizzard conditions, these will be covered up again, but each night I'm going to cover them up and make sure they're protected overnight, because we still get the cold temperatures at night here. But they're coming along. So I left the seedlings out in the greenhouse overnight. I covered them directly with this fabric row cover, and a lot of times just that alone can help protect the plant in the garden from frost. But I doubled it over because actually it covers my garden beds, and then I covered the whole thing with this fleece material. So I'm going to open this up and see how the plants fared overnight. It didn't get down to freezing in here, but it did get cold, about 38. I'm hoping this setup kept it a little bit warmer than that, like around 40, but that could still be a shock to the seedlings that have been in 60, 70 degree temperatures indoors. So I'm gonna open it up and see what we got. Well, from the initial looks of it, it looks like it's okay. This off. That PVC hoop was just done to keep the fabric from crushing the seedlings. And from the looks of it, they look like they're doing okay. Hope you could see that. My head wasn't in the way. I couldn't see the camera, actually. But hopefully that's enough protection for the plants to allow them to begin acclimating themselves to the cooler temperatures outdoors. And then next week, we can begin planting them out in the garden. If you'd like to see what we were doing last week in the garden, check out this video right here. So subscribe and hit that notification bell. That way you'll be able to follow along on the progress of all of our vegetables as we try to grow a supermarket in our own backyard. Okay, thanks for watching.